and I am absolutely excited to have Mr. Andrew Fike on the call. Andrew, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, loud and clear. Thanks for jumping on, buddy. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Chase. Bill even mentioned it's a numbers game, and so I want to go into a little bit more detail about what the heck are we talking about here? What does that mean, it's a numbers game? Well, the bottom line is this, is that, Bill talked about people writing, going from $10,000 to $15,000 in production to $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 in production. When you see people moving into that level of production, those are people that are moving from the salesperson level to people that are business people that are running their own business. And when you run your own business, you know exactly what numbers you need to have in front of you. You have certain numbers that you need to try to shoot for or to meet. You have certain numbers that are the cornerstone of your business. And there's, when you're playing this numbers game, and when we're talking about a numbers game, there's a rule number one of this game. Rule number one is you run the numbers, don't let the numbers run you, okay? Don't ever let the numbers run you. You're running your numbers, okay? You're in control because we're in business. We're in business because we want to be in control of our lives, be in control of our business. So how do you run the numbers and not let the numbers run you? Very simple, by knowing your numbers, okay? Now, I'm going to go over my numbers, but I'm also going to go over the numbers that you might want to be looking at as a newbie. And, I'll show you what I was shooting for when I was brand new. So, first of all, the most important number that you're looking at is your goal number, okay? What's your goal? What's your weekly goal? Okay, that's the most important number. What's your weekly goal? And this goal can be one of two numbers. It can be either a money number, or it can be a premium number. I found when I first started, I was looking at the money number. Now my goal is a premium number. My goal is $7,500 in premium per week, okay? That's all I look at. I don't worry about the money. I don't have to worry about the money anymore as a business person. I know the money's going to come in. I know I've got a bunch of money coming in tomorrow. So, for example, when I was first starting, my money number was $1,000 a week after cost. So I wanted to clear, about $50,000 a year running my own business, just getting started in this business. That's what I wanted to do. And I worked my butt off to do that, to get to that goal. I didn't meet that goal every single time. There was no way I was going to meet that goal every single time, because what good is a goal if it's easy for you to reach it? I don't reach $7,500 every week because that's not an easy goal for me to reach. I don't write $30,000 every month. You look at my numbers, I'm not writing $30,000 every month. If I was writing $30,000 every month, I'd be making $300,000 a year. Now, that's a great goal for me to be shooting for. But when you see these people at the top of the board, these guys that are fighting for number 1 and 2, you know these guys are making over $200,000 a year, easy, no problem. So they have certain goals that they're wanting to reach. I have certain goals that I'm wanting to reach. And you have to have goals that you want to reach. Now, they're going to be goals that are going to be reasonable, but are still hard to reach. So that's the first thing, is your goal number. The next number that you have to run your business by on a weekly basis is your presentation number. How many presentations are you making per week? How many people are you seeing per day? How many people are you seeing per week? It's very simple. I have your presentation number dovetails with your schedule numbers. Do you know how many hours you're working every week? I will tell you, once I hang up with this call, I'm going to be busy out writing insurance because I have an appointment at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and 8 o'clock. Straight through today. I have my time set for 12 to 8 tomorrow. My appointment setter is expected to fill every single one of those slots. Every once in a while, I get an email saying I might have not filled 1 or 2 of those slots, but she's expected to fill those slots. Then I work from 10 to 4 on Wednesday. I work from 12 to 8 on Thursday. And then if necessary, I work 10 to 4 on Friday. Sometimes I work 4 days a week. Sometimes I work 5 days a week. It depends on where I'm at as far as my goal is concerned and the things that I need to be making my money for. So how many presentations are you going to be making, do you need to be making per week? 20 presentations. So if you're buying 15 leads, you better figure out how to make 20 presentations. I don't buy 15 leads because I need to make 20 presentations. if you're working a full-time business, in my opinion, 15 leads is not enough, but that might not, be, cost effective for you. So that's where Bill's talking about those referrals coming in, and you better be pushing hard on those. Anybody that you don't have an appointment with that you've bought a lead for, you better be knocking on that door that very week to try to get in as many presentations as possible. I'm able to get a lot of appointments because I have a very good appointment setter. I get about a lot of leads every week, and she has a huge database of leads to work from if she's not able to book off my new leads. But the new leads are the most important thing. If she was just trying to book off the old leads, I would not even get one full day. So you've got to have those. The only thing that defines a lead is the freshness of the lead. It really does help. Now, can you work old leads? Of course you can, and you want to always never throw away a lead, of course. But you've got to have those fresh leads every week. So that's that next number that you have is what's your lead number? How many leads do you need to run this business? Okay? Goal number, presentation number, lead number, and know what kind of schedule you're working. So those are the most important numbers. Now, I already told you what my money number was when I was getting started as a newbie. It was $1,000 a week after cost. So what should your presentation, we already told you your presentation. Now, what should your production goal be? Well, it should be at least $2,500 a week. Because if you're making $2,500 a week in premium, you're going to be able to cover your leads, and you're going to be able to, start getting, get towards that $1,000 a week. You're making $10,000 a month. You're shooting for $10,000, $15,000 a month. You're getting towards that six-figure income. You're making $100,000 a year if you're writing $10,000 to $15,000 a month consistently, month in and month out. That's your business. That's what you're shooting for. And the great thing about it is that, I'm in this business for a very particular reason. I've had a lot of people tell me, I had a very close business associate. She's a lovely lady, and she wants me to, she said, well, what have you ever thought about getting out of final expense? And I said, well, why would I leave a $200,000 a year job to go do another job with some promises from somebody and I don't even know if I'm going to make that $200,000 a year. Of course, I'm going to stick with the $200,000 a year job, and I'll look into what you got going on to see if it works. But I already knew it wasn't going to work because, when I asked about how do I get my leads, I was told, well, it happens organically. Well, good Lord, it may happen organically for a week or a month maybe at the very most, but you got to have a system in place, and I can't hit up every doctor I know and everybody this and everybody that. That's not the way it works. There's reasons why corporations spend millions of dollars on marketing every year because they have to, because that's the way that they keep and get customers. And the reason I'm in this business is because, I have to feed my family. And I look at it very simply of if I have to catch fish in a barrel to feed my family, and I've got two great big fishes in there, and then I've got a whole bunch of little fishes in there, do I shoot for the big fish to feed my family, or do I shoot for all the little fishes that are swimming around in the barrel? Number one, the big fishes probably aren't as hungry because they're probably eating some of the little fishes. That's the first thing. But the number thing is everybody's shooting for the big fish. No, I'm going to shoot for the little fish. I like building my business brick by brick. That's how I've done it, and that's how I love this business, is because I've been able to build it brick by brick. I don't even have to collect referrals if I don't want to. I just buy the leads, and I just work my system, and that's the way it works. So I went over the numbers, and I just wanted to go over a couple quick things about when you get in the house and when you leave the house, okay? So when you get in the house and now you're sitting down to talk to these folks, I've got a couple tips I want to give you. Number one, look comfortable no matter how uncomfortable you may be, okay? I don't care how dirty the house is or whatever, you need to make yourself look comfortable. The only thing is if somebody tells me to sit down at a table and the table is wet, that's my one exception. I'll be like, hey, you need to clean up that table. But besides from that, I'm going to make sure that I'm totally comfortable no matter how uncomfortable the setting may be. Always look them straight in the eye when you're talking to them, especially at the very beginning. And also at the very beginning, always ask questions that show genuine interest, no matter how uninterested you may be. So I don't care if you don't want to be there. You better act like it's showtime when you're in there, and you better show these people that you're interested in their lives, no matter how ugly they may be. So always be showing genuine interest and show them that, I do give them the love. I mean, I show people that I'm there to help them. And it's very important for you to show that. So that's what I do. Now, here's the thing. When you get out of the house, I used to ask myself this question every single time. Now it's just sort of ingrained. And what I ask myself when I get out of the house, if it's a no sale, is what could I have done better to help that person get my insurance? What could I have done better to help that person get my insurance? I always take responsibility for myself no matter what, because I'm running my own business anyways, and it's going to come back to me if I always take responsibility no matter what. And you always take responsibility for yourself. You're going to get in the habit of doing that and looking at it that way. And what will happen is you'll start to see patterns develop, with your no sales, and these patterns that you can start to take advantage of. You'll know from the, we know from the start, even the newbies know from the start why people say no. Where you have to learn is how to see the patterns in advance and combat it in advance before it becomes a full-fledged no. Sort of an example would be if, when somebody you go in, they talk about, I got all this insurance and all that insurance, you know that you've got somebody that you're going to have to sort of try to deal in advance before you get that full no of, hey, this insurance is going to combat, is going to go along with that. That's why you have to do the $100 bill argument. And if you don't know the $100 bill argument, you need to talk to your manager. So that's going to combat the I have enough insurance before it becomes a full-fledged objection. So, ask yourself that question. What could I have done better to help that person get insurance, even if it's their fault? And eventually you learn how to sort of narrow it down where you're like, well, you know what? That person just hated everybody and didn't want to help anybody anyway. So, that person's not going to buy insurance. There's no love there. So you're going to get to those too, and you're going to understand those, and you're going to see those, and you're going to know where not to waste your time. And that's why I can work all those appointments on the hour, every hour, because I'm working a volume business, and I'm getting through my no's to get to my yeses, and I want to make 2 or 3 or 4 sales a day. That's the bottom line. So take responsibility for your business. Always take responsibility for your business. Run your business by the numbers, and take heart to all those tips I gave you when you get in that house as soon as you sit down with those folks. Chase, I hope everybody has a great day. And if you had a bad week last week, just remember you're going to have a good week this week.